This is a class focused on abdominals. We're also going to have a little focus near the end on back bends, only to balance out the contraction that we built during the majority of the class. So start on your back and first just test the range of your arms to make sure your hands don't hit anything when you sweep them up alongside you. Start on your back. Point your toes just the tiniest bit in towards one another with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, and let your knees fall into the center. This is a pose called constructive rest. So find the rest within the constructive rest. Allow gravity to do its work on you, and allow the floor to do its work of supporting you. Notice the places in your body that can rest the easiest, and allow your attention to luxuriate in those places. Maybe it's your feet, your hips. Maybe it's the backs of your arms or your middle back. You'll find as you lay, the layers of tension gradually start to peel away. It's always so surprising to find the layers of tension that are hidden, that get the opportunity to release with a little bit of time and attention. And I want to do a few rounds of a 3-part breath. So begin this pranayama by releasing all the breath out of your body and breathing in for a count of about 3 into your belly, just the belly, and holding it for a moment or two. Filling up now into the ribs, so from the belly, the hold, filling into the rib area, hold, and then into the chest, hold, and release. And now on your inhale, begin to sweep your arms up alongside your ears, feeling the texture of the ground underneath the skin of your arms. When you feel your arms lift up away from the ground, just stop there. Don't go any further than that. We'll do a few rounds of this. Inhaling, arms sweep up, enjoying texture and temperature through the skin on the backs of the arms. Notice if you get up even a millimeter higher this time than the previous, and then sweeping back down. Keeping the weight of your hips and your shoulders on the floor just as much as they were before. Arms sweep up. Arms sweep back down, like making the most gentle snow angels on your floor. Feeling the shoulder blades move onto the back as the arms sweep overhead. The coordination of bones and muscles are always so amazing, but how fun to slow it down and really pay attention. So this time, arms extend overhead, and then extend your right leg long. Then extend the left leg long. Enjoy the feeling of length through your body, and notice if any part of your back arched up away from the floor. If you can, keep it heavy on the ground. Step your right leg out to the right about a foot and bring the left leg in to meet it, crossing the right leg over the left. And you can grab the left wrist with your right arm and bring your gaze towards the right. Mapping with your mind's eye the whole length of your left side from left ankle to left hip, waistline, armpit, and then armpit to the wrist on that left side. Just like long C curve of the body. Releasing the hands, releasing the cross of the feet, coming back to center. Just calibrating what center feels like and maybe a difference from side to side. And then stepping the left leg about a foot out to the left, bringing the right leg in to meet it, and crossing the left leg over the right. And this time, the right arm can extend up over the head, and left arm grabs the right wrist. Gaze towards the left. And again, mapping the whole length of your right side body this time, the length of the outer leg, the hip, waist, ribs, lats, armpit, arm, and feel how the breath can work with you on helping open up any spots that can't quite lengthen with ease. I like starting any contraction work with length. So we're going to start here by opening the body. Bending the knees once again. Placing the feet on the floor about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And here I'm going to bring my arms into cactus position and float just the inner elbows up towards the sky, attempting to keep the hands, maybe the wrists on the ground. And notice what's working here. Pecs, maybe back by shoulder blades. This is going to help with posture and help the upper body stay really upright. Working a little bit with collarbones here too, but we're working all of the support muscles that keep our posture really nice and upright. So elbows float, and then keep floating the elbows up, up, up until they start to work towards one another and maybe meet. And then coming back down nice and slow, stopping about halfway down, releasing any weight in the hands and the wrists. And the elbows are almost resistant to the descension. You might find tiny little wiggles or shakes in your arms, and that's actually great. We're kind of looking for that a little bit. So again, let's do it again. Elbows float. And then wrists, hands follow the floating of the elbows as they start to rise, almost like they're magnets towards one another. Really slow and really trying to use the least amount of effort possible here. Being really efficient with your movement, almost graceful. And then again, stopping halfway as you slowly lower back down, mining for any shaking. Keeping the arms in cactus, let both knees flop over to the right. And on your inhale, bring the knees up. Exhale to the left. Breath and movement. Inhaling, knees come back to center. Shoulders stay heavy. If the shoulders are lifting, maybe don't bring the knees down quite so much. Think about an anchor in the shoulders and movement through the knees. Then again to the left. Inhale, knees up. Exhale to the right. We're going to keep the knees resting to the right, and if you'd like, you can extend your left arm up alongside the ear, as long as it's heavy on the floor. And here, the part of your body I want you to map is from the inner knee, the inner left knee, to the groin. Let the inner thigh be soft and heavy, along with the inside of the left foot. From the groin, you can map up the side body into the pec. And then bringing the elbow back down, knees back up to center, and then let the knees flop over to the left side. Right arm extends alongside you. Knees heavy. And again, mapping that same part of your body from knee to groin. Soft foot, heavy, soft thigh. Can maybe even feel or imagine the femur rotating in the socket. Enjoying the length that's being created in your body with the position and with your attention and with your breath. Lowering the elbow back down, floating the knees back up to center, adjusting your hips so they're balanced. From here, straightening the right leg and then floating the right leg up towards the sky, hinging just at the hip. Nothing moving here but the leg in the hip socket. So this is a twofold movement. This is to help strengthen the abs in a really gentle way, but it's also lubricating the hip socket. This is great for any hip issues, sometimes even SI issues this can help support. A couple more times. Placing the foot back down, extending the left leg straight, floating the left leg up and down. And keep moving with your breath. Noticing any parts of the body that maybe want to get involved to help, quote unquote, help out, and let those just be quiet and feel the support of gravity. They don't need to be called upon here. And then bending the knee, placing both feet flat on the floor. Interlace your hands behind your back. This is a movement, or an exercise I should say, that I really like to do to help balance the vagus nerve to what's called vagal tone, which helps regulate our nervous system in a really subtle way. So interlace the hands behind the back. Bring your gaze to the right as if your eyes are trying to look towards the outer edge of your right elbow. And we're going to hold this for at least 30 seconds or so. So the eyes will feel a little bit of strain, and that's fine and it's normal. Keep your body calm, your tongue soft, your jaw soft as your eyes reach. You might find a deep breath happen. You might find a yawn, and that's great. And then we'll go to the other side. Gaze to the left, as if your eyes are trying to just look beyond that left elbow, beyond the floor. And then bringing the gaze back up to center and letting your eyes adapt and your head adapt to the work that your eyes have done. Notice what it feels like in your body to have done that work. This is a great exercise to do daily. It's really beneficial for the nervous system. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's actually a really potent thing to do. From here, bend the knees. Cross the arms to either side of the opposite, or actually cross the hands to the opposite shoulder. Hug the knees together and bring both knees over to the right, just like a couple inches, and then to the left. So we have to use the core stabilizers here, otherwise you're going to roll to the side that your knees descend to. Coming back to center, and again we'll go to the right side. Knees bent 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knees. Hug the bottom knee into the top to help support the stabilizers. Shoulders stay neutral, gaze steady. You can even close the eyes here if you want. Feel what's working. Knees to center, to the left. If you feel the outer hips working very hard, don't go quite so far. I want the support to be a little bit more. I want the work to be a little bit more to the inner seam of the legs, all the way up into the groin. So again, core stabilizers. A little bit of the psoas. Back to center. We're going to do the same thing with straight legs. If straight legs feels too intense, you can bend the bottom knee to whatever side we're going, or you can stay with bent knees. So here's what it looks like with one knee bent, or you can go straight legs if you want a little bit more challenge. So we're starting the ab work here in a way that first supports the stabilizers rather than the more superficial muscles of the belly. Because when it comes to core, really the only thing that matters is those core stabilizers. The rest is kind of just for show. Find your breath. And then again, you can bend the knees after going to the left side, a little rock from side to side. Interlace your hands behind the head to draw your head up to your knees. Knees bent deeply, and then press your hands onto your thighs. Thighs press back into your hands, so hands and thighs are working with and against one another. Your hands are also lengthening the quadricep muscle up towards the knee. If both legs at one time feels like too much, you can do one at a time. So if you want, just hold the right knee for maybe a count of like 5 breaths, and then we'll do the other side. Otherwise, just stay here. Chin tucked deeply. Spine is neutral, and thigh bones are pressing in to the hands. Hands, meet that pressure, press back into the thighs, and traction the quadricep muscles up towards the knees. This, again, is a deep core stabilizer, great for posture, great for strength throughout the entire body. Even the toes are active here. So the whole front line of the body is engaged and like ready to roll. Breathe and release. Come back down onto your back. Allow the palms to open in a way that's comfortable, and just notice the work that was done. And as we do in these resilience classes, watch the rate of your heart or the activation in your system move towards settling. Feel gravity. Feel temperature on your skin. And then from here, we're going to prepare for bridge pose. So bending the elbows, press the elbows into the ground to draw the shoulder blades underneath the back, and then press the hips up to the sky. Feel balanced pressure on the feet as the hip bones push the ceiling up higher. Lower the hips down for just a beat, and then press back up. The whole length of your humerus bone roots into the ground. Lower the hips down, and again, lift back up. Feel the muscles that you're calling upon here. Quadriceps, glutes, feet press down, arm bones press down, and as if you're trying to roll to the top of your shoulder blade, your scapula. So you're not on your scapula. It's almost like a shoulder stand position of the shoulders and the neck. Chin is tucked, then lower down. Balance out your spine and your shoulders, and again, come back into a little bit of a rest. Reach the legs up to the sky and lower the right leg down. Right leg back up. Left leg down. Left leg up. Moving with your breath. You can place the hands behind the head, curling the head up, resting in the hands, coming as high as you can onto the thoracic spine, rolling as high up as you can as you lower one leg down at a time. Another position, you can reach the arms straight, arms parallel to the floor, and extend through your fingertips, even through your fingernails, as your legs move now in tandem. One leg comes up, one leg comes down, one leg comes up, one leg comes down, moving. Coordinating the breath with the movement. Feeling your abdominal muscles contract and draw in like a corset as the fingertips, the fingernails reach and extend, and you roll up as high as you can on your thoracic spine. And keep moving. Gaze steady, tongue soft. So even as there's challenge, there's also ease somewhere in your system. Hug the knees into the chest, nose to knees, and then release back down. Maybe the feet are turned in a little bit with the knees touching, palms turned in a comfortable position. And tune in. What does it feel like in your body right now? How does your body organically, automatically find its way back to a more restful place? Again, it's the peeling back of tension as you allow both support of the floor and the call of gravity. Again, interlace your hands behind your head and roll up vertebra by vertebra from C1 to C2 to C3 all the way into the thoracic spine, vertebra by vertebra, as high as you can peel those vertebrae off the ground, and then back down. There's no rush. C1, C2, C3, all the way to the thoracics, peeling up as much of your spine as you can off the ground, holding it, seeing if there's even a tiny bit more that can be peeled, and come back down. We're going to do this 3 more times. Really start with intention of cranium curling away from C1, C1 curling away from C2, and letting that be the catalyst of movement. So it's not about hoisting, it's about almost opening the back of those vertebral bodies and contracting the front of the vertebral bodies. And of course, you'll feel your abdominals work, keeping your throat soft. And your neck shouldn't be working too hard here at all. Your hands are doing the support of the weight of your noggin. Again, your feet are soft, thighs are rested, specific with your action, very intentional. Release. Take a breath. Release your arms into a cactus position, and once again let your knees flop to the right, extending your left arm alongside your ear. If you want, you can grab your left wrist with your right hand and maybe a tiny little tug. Thigh heavy, foot soft, mapping the whole line, inner knee, groin, waist, pec, all the way through the length of the inner arm, softening the belly and enjoying the pose, releasing the hand, bringing the knees to center, and other side. Again, the right arm can extend alongside the ear, or you can even grab the right wrist with your left hand and breathe. How much of your back can stay heavy as your lower body comes into a twist? Enjoy the feeling of weight in your thigh and your foot, breath in your belly. Releasing the hands, bringing the knees back up to center, rolling onto either side, and coming up to all fours. A couple rounds of cat and cow here. Placing the hands really consciously, even spread through the fingies. Exhaling, spine down. Exhaling, spine up. Inhaling, spine down. Just 2 rounds with your breath. And then placing your forearms on the floor. You can interlace your hands here, or you can have parallel forearms. Coming into a plank here. So we're gonna start with straight legs, straight-ish legs, I should say, because I always like the knees a little bent to get a more neutral spine. But feel free to stay along here. You can bring your knees down to the ground. You're still gonna get great benefit from this. So this is working again like core stabilizers, but also the transversus abdominis, which is great for that corset of your waistline and your core. No matter where you are on your forearms, work that the pressure is as even as possible. You'll find the weight wants to come into your elbows a little bit more, and that's fine and it's normal. Press through the whole length of your forearm. Really, what you're pressing through is your ulna bone, and then more to the inside of your index finger knuckle, which is your radius. So pressing through first the ulna and then through the radius, as if the radius kind of like turns over the ulna bone and presses into the ground, really recognizing that you have two bones in your forearms. Knees can come down if you need a break here, just about 10 more seconds, or back up to the toes, or still on the toes. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue, and just feel the strength in your body. Cross your right foot over your left arch and sit back onto your feet. So the bony part of your right foot is pressing into the left arch, and allow the left arch to just be informed by the extra pressure and weight. Notice the tendency of the left arch to maybe resist or push against or tense, and see if you can just not do that. And track the release of your body. Heavy bones, radius, ulna, heavy on the floor, shins, tibia, heavy on the floor, belly resting on the thighs. Here we're going to do a side plank. You can do it with straight legs, or you can come down onto your bent knees. Either way, the knee, hip, shoulder, all going to be in the straight line. If the legs are straight, obviously ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, head, all in a straight line. So same pressure here into the forearms. The elbow is going to be obviously the main pressure. Try to get the weight through the whole length of the forearm as much as you can. Positions for the top arm can be at the hip, cactus position, or alongside the ear. Shoulder blade in the lifted arm rests down the back. The length, the extension, really comes from armpit to inner elbow to palm. The length doesn't come from the shoulder blade. The length comes from the front body. The back body is just like soft, almost like a soft hand supporting the rising of the front body. Hug the bottom leg into the top leg. Hug the bottom hip into the top hip. And then just sweep over to the other side. Same deal here. Whatever you did on the first side, try to do on the second. If you find the second side harder and to do the straight legs just isn't conducive, feel free to come to bent knees. But whatever you did, try to do the same on this side just to create the balanced action in your bod. Cactus arm, or hands to the hips, or arm alongside the ear. Yeah. Bottom leg hugs to the top. Bottom hip hugs to the top hip. Toes and feet are active. Forearm, elbow, active. That downward engagement naturally provides an upward rise. Soft gaze. Soft tongue. One more breath. And release. Coming to all fours, and switch the cross of the feet. So here the left foot crosses into the right. So the bony part of your left foot rests in the soft part of your right arch. Allow the right arch to receive, absorb. Even if there's tension, see if even the tension can say, through maybe its own gritted teeth, "Thank you for coming and helping me acknowledge my tension." Or maybe it's just like, Bring it on. Enjoy your breath. See if you can feel your breath a little more clearly through your back body. Track your system's movement towards rest. And rise up again to all fours, 2 rounds of cat and cow. Exhaling, spine moves up, coming into a neutral spine after your 2 rounds. And pressing back into a plank position. 5 chaturangas to plank. This is optional. Feel free at this time to either stay on your belly, do another couple rounds of cat-cow. You can hold plank. Whatever feels beneficial to your practice and you on this day. You'll see here I'm holding chaturanga for just a beat before I press back up. And when you're done, come all the way down onto your belly into Sphinx pose. So forearms parallel here, and let the head hang. Feel the length through the back of the neck, especially where cranium and neck meet. And then from the crown of the head, start rising. And then face lifts, throat lifts, sternum lifts, forearms press. Just opening the whole front part of the body. Really, we're working with the fascia here. You might even feel a gentle pull into the belly, which is kind of what I'm aiming for. And then roll down the way you came into it. Head heavy. Find the crown of your head with your mind's eye and let the crown of the head be the first to almost like bloom, face blooms, throat blooms, sternum blooms. The press of the forearms supports the blooming. Feel the lengthening maybe through the solar plexus, maybe into the skin of the belly, and release back down all the way. Bringing your arms into a cactus position here and slide your left knee up. Your face is in the direction of your legs. That's just a little bit easier on your neck. And again, we're just going to hang with gravity. This is great for SI joint issues. This is great for psoas, delight. Just let yourself feel the gifts of this simple position. Nothing needs to be active here. Lower the leg back down. Turn your head to the opposite side and bring the right knee up. What can let go that doesn't need to be active? Lower the leg back down. Place your hands like goalposts out to the side, about in line with your chest. From your hands, press into the ground and roll the shoulder blades onto the back. And just like we did before, curl the head, chest up, press the ground into the floor, and squeeze the arms isometrically back to get a little more opening through the chest. If this feels like too much on your low back, come back into the Sphinx position. This is just another way to get length into the belly. From here, we're going to come up to all fours, press back into downward facing dog. This is the only down dog of our practice today. Pressure to the insides of the hands as the arms lengthen, just like before. They lengthen from the armpit. The shoulder blades move down and support the front body lengthening. Down onto all fours, coming up. Arms are going to be in sort of a goalpost position with the elbows down. It's almost as if your arms are drawing a W. So elbows a little bit lower, and I'm carving my elbows forward, coming into the tiniest little back bend here. Shoulder blades squeezing together on the back, elbows carving forward. So you can stay in that first position or bring your hands to the tops of your hip bones and roll back here. This is a little more intense. Make sure it's okay on the neck. You can always tuck the chin in. Another option, we're going to do it again. You can do the W arms. You can do hands to the tops of the iliac crest, the hip bones. So option with the arms, hands to the hips. Or if you have blocks, you can also use the tops of your heels with your toes curled under here. Camel pose. Chin tucked as much as I can, and then it's almost like I'm rolling my chin back on the neck until my head can comfortably hang. If it doesn't feel like you can find that position of comfortable hanging, don't bother. Just keep the chin tucked. There's no benefits here. As you rise up, rise to the heart and the head follows. Come down to kneeling. Settle into your seat. You can rest your palms face up and once more track the rise of activation to the movement towards settling. It's this pendulation of activation to settling that we start to build resilience. And even when we do it in a small, manageable way like this, it's still working. So here I'm taking my blanket and I'm rolling it. Towel works great too. I'm rolling it as tight as I can to about the thickness of my fist. Where this blanket, where the roll is going to go, is right about where the bottom tips of my shoulder blades are in, or right above the bra strap line. So right there, bottom tips of the shoulder blades. You'll be tempted to bring that roll to a lower part of your spine. That's going to feel quote unquote right. So if it feels a little too right, it's maybe wrong. How about that for deep philosophy? So I want it in a spot that feels like, oh, that spot is a little bit immobile, and that's why we're doing it. So this roll is going to go to the part of your spine that is the most immobile, and we're just giving it a little more information to allow it to have more options. And this is going to be our Shavasana. Allowing the input of the soft roll to suggest to your spine and your ribs a new way of orienting. Feel the weight of your shoulders and your arms. You'll notice the top of your low back and the bottom of your thoracic spine arched here. That's fine and that's normal. However, see if that area can find a little more weight. Again, you'll feel time and gravity working in your favor. Letting go of any tension in the feet and the hands. Allowing the skin of the face to descend. releasing any tension around the ears, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And when you're ready, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can make some circles with your hands and your feet. Maybe extend arms overhead and extend legs long. When you're ready, bend the knees in. Roll onto either side and find your way up to a comfortable seat. You can use your blanket or towel and place it underneath your hips for a little meditation. If you'd like here, you can do a 3-part breath and close with that or an Om. Thank you so much for practicing with me.